On the day of his grandfather's burial, the boy quietly slipped his cell phone into his grandfather's clothes. After the funeral, the boy received a text message from his grandfather with a few strange letters. The boy rushed downstairs to find his father, saying that his grandfather had sent him a text message at 2:30 a.m., which seemed to be asking for help. He suspected that his grandfather was not dead at all, so he suggested that his father find someone to dig him up. But his father was not convinced, saying that his grandfather's phone might have been hacked and that it was all just a spoof. Seeing that the boy still did not listen to the explanation, his father had to tell him a brutal fact. When his grandfather died, there was no one around, so the coroner performed an autopsy on him, and the result was that he died of a heart attack. The boy did not want to accept the truth, so he rode his bike to the cemetery alone, took out his cell phone and dialed his grandfather's number, lying on the ground and listening carefully. The cell phone was still in the coffin. What was going on? He didn't dare to think any further. Maybe the phone was hacked, just like his father said. He couldn't help but send a text message to his grandfather, telling him how much he missed him. But the next day, he was approached by an old man. He claimed to be his grandfather's financier. He handed the boy a letter that his grandfather had left him before he died. From the letter, he learned that he had left $800,000 for his school fund. The money was enough to cover all the boy's school expenses until he entered society. When the boy read the last sentence of the letter, the content made him shudder.
P.S. I will miss our afternoons together too.
He immediately thought of something and hurriedly looked through his phone and found that the last words of his grandfather is exactly the text message he sent to his grandfather last night. But this letter, according to the financial account, is the grandfather left months ago? Is this all a coincidence? However, before he could think clearly, strange things happened. A few days later at the school dance, the boy was dragged to the playground by the school bully and beaten up. And before he left, he was pressed to the ground with his arms crossed. The boy's position will be a nightmare for the bully forever. The father asks who did it, but the boy hid the whole thing for fear of reprisal. At night, the boy hid alone in the bathroom and dialed his grandfather's number again. Despite the robotic voicemail on the other end of the line, the boy tells of the bullying. He thought he was just venting his feelings, but it turned into a motive for murder. The next day, the boy received a message from his best friend. The bully was dead. The cause of death was a fall from the roof that broke his neck. But this strange death was exactly the same as when he was beaten up. This is definitely not a coincidence. With strong curiosity, he dialed his grandfather's number again.
If you did have anything to do with him dying, then knock on my wall. Knock on my wall 3 times.
The boy hung up and sat on the bed waiting for the result. Grandpa called his grandson not long after his death. The boy was too scared to come close and didn't pick up his cell phone, trembling until after the ringing ended. To his surprise, he got another text message from his grandfather with the same content as the other day. The boy couldn't take it anymore. He got a new number and a new cell phone. He wanted to throw the old phone away. But after all, this phone held the feelings of his grandfather and himself for many years. The boy couldn't bear it, so he locked it in a cabinet. In the blink of an eye, the boy began to study at the university. He thought that was the end of the story. However, on this day, a phone call from his father once again made the boy take out his long-lost cell phone. It turns out that a few days ago, the high school homeroom teacher, whom he used to like very much, was involved in a car accident while he was on vacation, and the homeroom teacher died on the spot. The rich kid who caused the accident was obviously a drunk driver, but he was only sentenced to 3 months of sobriety in a sanatorium. In order to make sure the bad guy gets what he deserves, the boy dials his grandpa's number again.
There is a man named Dean Whitmore who killed a teacher of mine from high school, and he didn't get what he deserved. I want him dead.
He thought he was just venting his feelings, but the next day, he saw the news that the driver had died. He couldn't stand it any longer, so he went to the nursing home and paid the caregiver $100 to find out the truth about the death of the driver. The other driver choked to death after swallowing half a bar of soap in the shower. The soap was the homeroom teacher's favorite brand. From the suicide note left at the scene, it was determined that the other party died by suicide. The boy rushed to ask about the contents of the suicide note.
A little bit of a prayer. It was, keep giving all the love you can.
It's not a prayer.
It was his grandfather's favorite lyrics. Did he really do all this? The boy was overwhelmed with remorse. He went to his grandfather's house again and entered the room he was never allowed to enter. Grandpa had said that this room was a secret.
Terrible secret.
And the secret he claimed to have was this cupboard full of photos. The boy understood everything in an instant. Both of them lost their mothers at a young age. The same experience made them to lonely people with an unusual bond. That's why even if Grandpa lies in the ground, he still has to do his best to protect the one he loves the most. The boy came to the cemetery to say his last goodbye to his grandfather, hoping that he could rest in peace. He would never forget the afternoons he spent with him. The boy then goes to the lake and throws the cell phone into the lake. The movie ends here. This is Mr. Harrigan's Phone, a 2022 American thriller movie. I was very impressed by the absurd storyline and intriguing details of the characters in the movie. Although it is never clear who the real culprit is, it's always creepy. The death of the school bully and the details of the rich kid's death clearly indicate that the murderer is the boy himself. The boy's strange behavior turns into thoughts of his grandfather. Although it's impossible that his grandfather did all those things, he always believes that it helped him. This shows that he has a deep bond with his grandfather. This movie tells us that we have to learn to let go of our loved ones and not to dwell on the sadness of losing them. It's only harmful to ourselves. I am Soul Movie. If you like the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.